everybody, this is Spooky from ArmorTalk.com, and today I'm going to do a dual purpose video. I have some T62 Veteran gameplay on the Russian open beta server. If you're wondering why I'm doing the Russian open beta server instead of the head start on the North American or European Union server, it's simply because this is footage of a unique vehicle that hasn't come to the my.com servers yet. So I thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and use it while I also take a look at some tips and suggestions for the player versus environment or PvE mode in Armored Warfare. So this video will be appearing on the blog post talking about the hints and suggestions and basically just a beginning guide to the PvE mode in Armored Warfare. We are really starting to add a lot of guides to the Armored Talk website. If you are a World of Tanks player, you might want to make sure you check out our quick start guide for World of Tank players. That's been a pretty popular article and I think a lot of people are finding it useful. As far as this video goes, let's first talk about the T62 Veteran. I'm sure you noticed a fairly significant difference already in it compared to the tanks that you're used to playing in open beta head start or the videos you've seen coming out of early access of Armored Warfare. Yeah, the camouflage paint has been applied to this tank, and in my opinion, it looks pretty nice. If you're wondering how I got this, the Russian server had a promotion where if you had the code, you could type it in and obtain this tank. How are the North American and European servers going to be able to get the T62 Veteran? Well, that's a good question, and unfortunately I do not have an answer for you. I don't remember if it was Silent Stalker or Josh, Jinx71, who's the senior producer of Armored Warfare. Silent Stalker, of course, is the content manager. One of those two did mention that they are going to be bringing this tank to the North American European servers, but they did not mention how a player is going to go ahead and get it. My guess is it'll be some sort of a reward tank. What's interesting about it is it's not a premium, at least the tank I was driving on the Russian open beta. It required unlocking all of the modules and guns just like the regular T62 does. So you might be asking yourself, so what's the difference between these two? You know, I will hopefully remember to put a spec screenshot in this video or on the blog, but once they are fully elited, or excuse me, once they have both reached the proven or renowned states in Armored Warfare, they are fairly similar. Everything such as speed and armor layout and things of the nature as far as how fast they aim all appear to be identical. Really, the only two differences are the T62 Veteran has a little bit more of an alpha damage. It hits for roughly, I think if I'm remembering correctly, like 20 or so damage. However, the other difference is what compensates for that, and it has a little bit slower reload time. So that difference, or those two differences, with the Veteran hitting a little bit harder but reloading a little bit slower, they balanced it so that the damage per minute between the two vehicles is nearly identical. I think only, again, 20, 30, 40 or so points. Over a minute is not that much to make you think that one is drastically better than the other one. You know, for somebody who really wants to maximize their alpha damage or minimize their reload time, they may have a preference on functionality-wise which one is better. I think most players will find they're pretty much identical. With the main difference, of course, if I have both in my garage, I'm probably going to take the T62 Veteran out simply because it looks better with the camouflage pattern. So the other reason I'm doing this video, I mentioned at the beginning it's a dual purpose video, is to talk a little bit about the PvE or player versus environment mode. This game was actually recorded quite some time ago, so I don't actually recall if I used all the tips I'm about ready to say in it or not. If I didn't do what I say, not what I did. So PvE in general, there are going to be two main primary objective types of maps you're going to see. One is, of course, the game you've been watching is a PvE primary objective of defending 3 separate areas that light up at different times during the course of the battle. We are currently on the 3rd objective with a little bit more than 3 minutes left to protect the blue cap circle at B4, it looks like. And the one thing I wanted to mention about this particular game mode is when you are defending those areas, a lot of players seem to think that they actually have to go to that blue circle and park their vehicle in there. That is not something you need to do. You're actually just defending that. I actually think it's a little bit better of a strategy to fan out and take up defensive positions around that blue circle, such that you can still cover each other if possible, or at least just don't be sitting in that circle out in the open if there are no places to take hard cover. It'd be better to fan out a little bit and take some forward positions that you can retreat from if necessary. The other primary objective that you're going to see often in player versus environment gameplay is the typical, you need to capture the enemy base. Something I've seen a lot of players making a mistake in this mode doing is trying to rush and get that cap as soon as possible. You know, I suppose if your team is in a hurry, you can go ahead and do that and get it capped out. Or if you have lost a couple teammates and you're afraid that you're going to run out of time, which of course there's plenty of time, so I'm not sure that's going to happen too often, then there's a need to go ahead and do that. Otherwise, take your time. Have your team explore the map, making sure you're killing as many enemy bots as possible. Make sure you are capturing the secondary objectives because they add a pretty big bonus towards the end. And just overall, don't be in a rush to cap the base. You have better things to do and can earn more points by the more enemy bots that you kill, and definitely by capturing the secondary objectives, which goes for both types of primary missions. Make sure you get those secondary objectives. I can't stress that enough. If you are a quicker vehicle and it's starting to run out of time on the secondary objective, go ahead and take it upon yourself to go take care of it. But something you want to make sure you don't do, and this applies for the secondary objectives and also base capture, is prematurely jump on a point that's going to cause more enemy bots to spawn. Doing so when your team is already fighting a bunch could potentially cause a loss because more enemies are going to be coming at you than your team's able to deal with. So just make sure that your team is ready, they're in position before you jump on any points that are going to go ahead and bring on more enemies. I'd also suggest that you practice good tanking habits. You know, I know on some of these bots are easy and you feel like you can just sit out there and fire at will, but it's going to be better to practice turning your armor, backing up behind cover, just so you don't form bad habits when you do go into the PvP mode. And similarly, any clans or tournament teams out there, I think that working in PvE mode with a platoon of 5 would be great practice for your signal caller and just to develop cohesive training opportunities for your team. I'll have a bunch more different tips and techniques on the Armor Talk blog post for you to take a look at if you're interested. I'm kind of running out of time in this video. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed watching the T62 Veteran in action and a little bit of quick tips on PvE, of which the article contained a lot more. If you liked it, please hit subscribe or give it a thumbs up. That really helps. And of course, come visit us on the ArmoredTalk.com blog for all of your armored warfare news and information. I think one of our avid readers has actually given me a nice little outro I'll go ahead and throw at the end of this video. Thanks, Wars. Everybody, have a good day or good night, wherever you are.